make your dinner. That quick.
Huh.
Wow,
They always
okay.
said the
Yeah, it's the other way
yeah.
around. It's the other way
Well, it
around.
can be both because now, like Stephanie, she doesn't like the club.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay,
Hi,
can you hear
Reba.
me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can hear you.
We can hear you now.
So, good morning and welcome to Northern Lights Center for Spiritual Living. We're a community of people dedicated to using spiritual and practical principles to create lives we want to live. And Northern Lights Center for Spiritual Living offers practical and spiritual tools to make positive changes in our lives. And our promise here is to reveal, inspire, uplift, celebrate, and magnify your greatness. We acknowledge our presence here on the traditional and unceded lands of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish and Coastal Salish peoples. These people are still here with us, and we join with them in how they continue to honor and bring to light their ancient heritage. We seek to resist the erasure of Indigenous histories as we work towards honoring and inviting the truth. In a similar fashion, we acknowledge how much of what we know in this country today, its culture, economic growth and development throughout history and across time, has been made possible by the labor of enslaved Africans and their ascendants who suffered the horrors of transatlantic trafficking, chattel slavery, and Jim Crow. We also name the Asian and Chicano people who toiled with little recognition. We are indebted to their labors and sacrifices, and we acknowledge the tremors of that violence throughout the generations and resulting impacts that can still be felt and witnessed today. Please join me for our opening song, In This Very Room by Ron and Carol Harris.
It's the wrong one.
Yes. In this very room, there's quite enough love for all the world. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for all the world. And there's quite enough peace and quite enough power to walk through our every fear. For Spirit, sweet Spirit, is in this very room. In this very room. So during the service, one of the things that we do is we try out some of the different spiritual practices that are available to us. So the practice that we're going to do now is a meditation. So for meditation, I'm going to invite you to just find a position, a posture that's comfortable. Notice where you want to rest your hands. Notice your feet, where you want those to be. Allow yourself to become aware of your breath. The power of life, inspiring each inhalation, the rising chest, and each exhalation with the fall of the chest. And with each breath in and breath out, inhaling, bringing the chest up. Exhaling, letting the chest fall back down. Know yourself as a place of divine power. Know yourself as a place of divine life. The breath in, you receive from the world around you. Life, wholeness, peace, power. The breath out, you return to the universe. Your presence creates more life, more power, greater space for divine presence to operate. Perhaps in the background, you'll notice the sound of waves. Those ongoing, seemingly endless movement of the water. Throughout our entire lives, we have that same movement of our breath in and out. Just take a moment and reflect on the power that you bring to this life. Perhaps you smiled at someone and generated a smile in return. Perhaps you said or wrote a word that brought inspiration. Perhaps you were there to lend a hand and make something happen that could not have happened without you. If you've ever had an animal companion, simply reflect on how your presence may make a difference or have made a difference. Perhaps there's an organization that has inspired you, and in response to that inspiration, you decided to lend your support in time, in money, in energy, in positive comments. We may think of power as something huge, like what could bring forth all of creation. And yet, tiny individual actions may all express the presence of power, the action of power. So again, paying attention to the sound of the waves coming in and going out. Allow the attention to return to the breath coming in and going out. And allow yourself to notice your feet on the floor if you're seated. The support of a chair under you if you're seated. And allow yourself to come back to the room. And I say, Amen. Ashe. And so it is.
I'm going back to
So today's reading comes from a coach, Elizabeth Perry, around personal power. And she asks, what is personal power? Personal power is the ability to influence people and events. This form of power comes from individual characteristics rather than formal authority. Personal power is more than an attitude or state of mind. Someone with strong personal power is focused on their self-efficacy, their ability to cooperate with others. They lead by example. They inspire. They foster a positive worldview to influence their peers. They assert themselves respectfully, succeed with humility, and stay driven and stable. How much success and fulfillment you get from personal power depends on how you use it. We don't always know how to use the internal resources we have ethically and effectively. So it's important to regularly check in with yourselves about how we're using our personal power to influence and control others. Here are 4 tips on our personal power, using it successfully and responsibly. First, start by acknowledging your personal power. Before you can begin to use your personal power, you need to be aware of the power you have and the type of personal power that is. Without this self-awareness, you cannot consciously put your power to use, nor can you anticipate the consequences or the impacts. For example, a person who is aware of their personal power can put their energy into networking with people who can advance their careers. They're also more likely to be aware of how people respond to their personal power in social situations. This awareness goes hand in hand with emotional intelligence. People with high emotional intelligence can perceive their own feelings as well as those of others. 2, have integrity and consistency. Personal power, like positional power, can easily get abused. It's important to examine our motivations for using our personal power to avoid compromising our integrity. Using our influence to coerce our colleagues or manipulate people is problematic and will likely end badly. Having a consistent moral compass and reliable behavior will let people know they can trust us and lead to greater self-respect. Lean into selflessness. When we succeed professionally or socially, it's tempted to be ego-driven and fixate on our own achievements. Don't forget the principles of personal power emphasize the role of others in our successes, and so should we. Acknowledge all those folks who helped us get where we are. Be grateful for the loved ones who continue to support us. Appreciation is a two-way street. Finally, use our personal power to motivate others. The wonderful thing about personal power is its potential to uplift not only you, but also those around you. Listen to your friends and colleagues. Lead your teams by example and offer support to those who need it. This will foster a positive mental attitude and better environment for all. And so it is.
So it is.
So we have our declaration, and everybody here knows the routine. We say it 3 times. We are an expanding and loving community working in a field of infinite potential. We are an expanding and loving community working in a field of infinite potential. And finally, we are an expanding and loving community working in a field of infinite potential. And so it is. So there is a new song for this month because it's a new month. And as you might have guessed or have been hinted at, the month's theme is going to be around power. So the words to the song are, when I retell my victims' stories, I stay stuck in blame and shame. Can't I make places for glory, knowing there's so much to gain? When my savior is someone outside me, each step that I take gets lost. When I see the favor inside me, I know I can pay all the costs. My power wants to express. My power can show my best. My power, it shines like the stars. My power, it takes us so far, takes us so far. So please join in if you'd like.
We're having slight gremlinology here. You can actually share it from yours. I can't unshare this now.
Okay.
Oh, is that you? Okay.
Am I sharing it with the,
Online?
I don't know that I'm sharing it online.
Some days. Why are you doing this to me?
Sure.
Okay.
Nope, can't see it.
Just a second.
It's a Zoom thing.
Yes.
I'm trying to shut it down, but it won't shut down.
Can you see it now?
Yes,
Great.
yes.
Thank you for the technical patience. When I retell my victims' stories, I stay stuck in blame and shame. Can't I make places for glory, knowing there's so much to gain? When my savior is someone outside me, each step that I take gets lost. When I see the favors inside me, I know I can pay all the costs. My power wants to express. My power can show my best. My power, it shines like the stars. My power, it takes us so far, takes us so far. Now I have to go to the next.
Should be able to click on it.
I should be.
There you
When you retell your victim stories, you stay stuck in blame and shame. Can't you take the place of glory, knowing there's so much to gain? When your savior is someone outside you, each step that you take gets lost. When you see the favors inside you, you know you can pay all the costs. Your power wants to express. Your power to show your best. Your power, it shines like the stars. Your power, it takes us far, takes us so far.
There you
When we retell our victim stories, we stay stuck in shame and shame. Sorry. Your place is full of glory, knowing there's so much to gain. When our Savior is someone outside us, each step that we take gets lost. When we see the favor inside us, we know we can pay all the costs. Our power wants to express. Our power can show our best. Our power, it shines like the stars. Our power takes us so far, takes us so far. Don't love that. When I retell my victim stories, I stay stuck in blame and shame. Can't I make places for glory, knowing there's so much to gain? When my Savior is someone outside me, each step that I take gets lost. When I see the favor inside me, I know I can pay all the costs. My power wants to express. My power can show my best. My power, it shines like the stars. My power takes us so far, takes us so far.
Wonderbar. Did I say that?
Wunderbar?
Wonderbar.
Wunderbar.
You should watch that. It's trying to kill me.
No, we should keep it within.
Yes. Good morning and welcome to little gremlins in the system. But we will overcome those gremlins. Okay, now I will share. Not this. But this, yes. I like the pants.
If you want it, you can have it. All you gotta do is just reach out and grab it. If you want it, you can have it. All you got to do is just reach right out and grab it. Step into your power. Step on up. Step into your power, child. Step on up. Step into your power. Step on up. Step into your power, child. Listen to me. All you need, you're already on. It was given to you on the day that you were born. Anything that your heart can dream, you can make it reality. Step out up, step into your power. Step out up, step into your power, child. Step out up, step into your power. Step out up, step into your power, child. Now listen, don't be afraid, don't be afraid to fall. So getting back up is gonna make you stronger. God only made one like you. So come on, baby, and just do what you were born to do. Step on up, step into your power. Step on up. Step into your power, child. Step on up. Step into your power. Step on up. Step into your power, child. Step on up. Hey, step into your power. Step into your power, child. Step into your power. Step into your power, child. Step on up. Step on up. Step on up.
Sounded familiar.
Take a great one.
Yeah, I gotcha. Ah, yes, I like that. I mean, I love that flashback of the flared bell bottom
It
pants.
looks like someone's in the waiting room.
Was that?
Careful.
Mm.
Okay,
I don't,
okay.
oh, is that, we was in the rain? Okay, we was back in the rain now, okay.
And Isha said that she had a friend who was in the waiting room, but I didn't see them to let them in.
Oh. Okay, well, here we are, starting the month of October. And the idea of this month is, the theme for the month is power to the people. And I kind of thought about playing that song. I don't remember what song it was, but it's oldie but goodie. Yeah, I can't remember who said it. So, well, one way was, a lot of times we give our power away, you know? And I realized this morning I did that. Jeffrey said that my shirt looks like the state of Texas.
The flag.
And the flag, well, not the state. And I immediately go, you know, because I'm not a big fan of Texas. However, while I was sitting over here, I go, you know, I should just embrace that. Because, you know, by acting that way, I'm giving my power away to them, to whoever I you know, disagree with or whatever. And we do that so much. We just give our power away. And so today, and this month, we're talking about, you know, taking our power back, which, you know, is the thing to do, to stand up and do that. And Ernest Holmes said that there is a power around you that knows and that understands all things. This power works like the soil. It receives the seed of your thought and at once begins to operate upon it. It will receive whatever you give it and will create for you and throw back at you whatever you think into it. So it's a seed soil plant, like what we teach, we plant the seed and we don't dig it back up again. So many times we want to see if it's germinating, and if you dig it up enough, you're going to kill it. So we just allow it, like in our fifth step of our prayer treatment, to release it, to let it go, to allow the universe to take it, to do with it what it will do. And power can be a triggering thing for a lot of people. A trigger because each of us, we have different experiences with power. And I've shared this before, my thoughts on it, that when I don't know, it's not when I first heard power, but a lot of years and years ago when I would hear power, I would think of the oppressing type power, where people or things or situations have power over me. And that's something that I think we need to release and let go. Because really nobody, unless we give them permission or we give them the power, no one can take that power, take our power away. There's something I was going to say in there, I forgot. Good. Okay, it'll come back. We can reduce the triggers by doing our inner work to create a clean relationship with our personal power. So if we go in and we realize that we're not dealing with power, the power of people that people have over us, that we perceive they do, that we can go in and we can connect with our inner power. We can connect with that still small voice inside and reflect on what does power mean to me? What does my power look like? What does your power look like? What does it feel like? When you stand in your power, what does that feel like? When you stand up for something that you know or feel is right, when others disagree, what does that feel like? Sometimes it can feel not so good, if you feel everybody else is against you. However, if you are standing in your power and you believe it is right, to me that's good. So many times I have to say in my life, I have believed something's right, and then somebody will, convince me or whatever, or the committee in my head will get together and I'll back down. And if I feel and I'm right, then I can feel that way, and I don't have to pound it into people's heads. Just like when you have conversation about religion, politics, or all these lovely subjects that we do, if we sometimes nobody's right or wrong, because what I believe can be right and what you believe can be right. I remember one of my first services at CSL in Seattle, and Reverend Kathy Ann was talking about taking from other religions what you need, what you can use. And I just kind of went bonkers, it's like, whoa, because it made so much sense. I mean, it was so simple, so simple, because when I was younger, I grew up Wisconsin City Lutheran, and supposedly we were the only, religion, just like the Catholics are their best religion, and every religion looks at her. And I thought, well, if they're the one true religion, then what the hell are all these other religions doing? Why do we have them? If this one is just a perfect religion, why do we have all these other ones? And then when she said that, And I thought about it, and I go, oh my God, that makes, I don't feel like I'm crazy when I'm thinking that. It just made perfect sense. And that's what's same with the power. We begin by going within to discover our beliefs around power. So what do we believe about our power? I was looking in the, that's what I was going to say. God, see, I know it comes back. In the dictionary, trying to find a decent definition for power. Almost all the definitions I found were where you're trying to influence somebody. The power, and that isn't the power that we're talking about. We influence people, yes, and that's by being an example. That's the best thing we can do in life. Like in AA, it was like sometimes we ask why this happened to me, and what can I do? And one of the best things, you can be an example. You can be an example of what you believe, and when others see that, they embrace it, maybe or not. Acknowledgments, forgiveness, compassion for ourselves and others, and our spiritual practices are the tools we'll use to begin healing our relationship with power. Spiritual practices are so important. Spiritual practices can do wonders. Meditation, reading, journaling, all these things to get sometimes to get out of ourselves. Science of Mind invites us to begin by going within. And that's with a lot of our practices, that's what we do. We go within. Because that's where the divine power lives, and that's where that still small voice, which I call God or Spirit or the divine. We begin, or we believe that it is not what you pray to, but where you pray from that matters. Not what you pray to, but what you pray, where you pray from. And to me, that's just like giving. It's not how much you give or what you give. It's how you give it. Like that woman in the Bible, she only had like equivalent to like 3 cents or whatever, but she gave it from her heart. And when we do that, when we give it from our heart, and if we pray from that space, that sacred space within us, that's what matters. Going within allows us to do our inner work in preparation for our outer expression. So we work on our innards, I was going to say. We work on our inside so that what we express outwardly is something that we're happy to do, we're proud to do. I know a lot of times in discussions and stuff, I have to stop and I have to think and I have to go within. I don't know if that's because I'm an introvert or whatever, or growing up in a household that was yelling and screaming all the time, because I'm afraid what I might say. And I don't want to say, not necessarily the wrong thing, but I don't want it to come out in anger. And a lot of times that's what happens when you're in a discussion, or an argument. I've shared this before, that one time at work when I was a lead on second shift, I let this one guy have it. I don't remember what the details were, and that doesn't really matter. And I went away, went back to my desk, and I'm thinking, and it's gnawing at me. So I went back and apologized to him. I said, I'm not apologizing for what I said, but how I said it. Because our words have extreme power. And that's one thing I tried desperately sometimes, because growing up in the household I did, the words that came out were like not good, and I still have an issue with confrontation and loud speaking people when they're maybe and they get in your face. Oh God, that I can't deal with. So that's where we have to step into and take our power, you know. So let's see. Engaging in a process of self-awareness and self-discovery. That's why when we go inside, we engage in that, and we ask, you know, what is my relationship with power? What does my power look like? Like I said, what does it feel like? Similar to the way we examine our beliefs and behaviors regarding finances. You know, a lot of times we have to, finance is a very tricky subject with a lot of people. There's certain issues that are really, you know, sex and finances and politics and religion, you know, all these things are, they're triggers in a lot of senses. And so if we can deal with them and look at them, and find out exactly what our beliefs are. Just as we aim to develop a healthy and balanced relationship with money, we must also do the same thing with power. Like money is not evil, power is not evil. Spiritual practices serve as valuable tools to support this inner work. Spiritual practices, like I know meditation is a great one, and actually contemplation. You find something that you really want to focus on and just contemplate on it. And most other things will disappear out of sight, and you focus on this one thing or maybe two things. But the spiritual practices, to me, a big one is music is a spiritual practice. I would have to say that is probably my number one spiritual practice, because music can take me out of myself, and it can take me out of when I get into that, you know, that pity pot, that space of feeling unworthy or whatever. Music can take me out of that. It can lift me up. So these spiritual practices, they provide the means to connect with our deeper selves and access the higher wisdom. We can ask the divine for guidance and sometimes things will come up in say contemplation or meditation, and you get confused. You know, oh, what does that mean? That's not right. You can always ask for clarification. I need more. Show me more. And sometimes when we're not ready for something, which I know I've been in that situation where something comes up and we push it away. But you know what? It doesn't give up. It keeps on showing up in one way or another. Through this intentional inner exploration of healing, when we go inside and we're purposely doing this, we lay a solid foundation for expressing power in a clean, authentic, and compassionate manner. And this shows up in our external interactions and engagements with the world. So what we work on inside, what we clean up, what we clarify, what we define that's within us, what we believe, our beliefs, our understandings, our whatever, however we do that, that shows up on the outside. There's a thing that says truth heals. Acknowledging is the first courageous and transformative step towards healing our relationship with power. Emma Curtis Hopkins wisely stated, truth heals. To embark on this journey, we must bravely confront our current beliefs and experiences with power. So a lot of times we probably in our lives, you know, most of us have lived a few years, and we've probably had experiences, negative and positive experiences with power. So you need to confront those. The positives, you know, you can confront those too and say, okay, what worked in that situation? What worked in this positive way that power showed up in my life, or how I accepted my power and I used it. Not using it in a negative way, to beat people up, to bring people into submission or whatever. That's not what it's all about. It can be an uncomfortable process, as power can be a triggering word for many of us. However, by shedding light on our triggers and acknowledging how power has affected us, we gain profound insights into the inner workings. That's like anything with life. Once we work on it, and then we can work on it and release it, when it no longer serves us, kick it to the curb. I love that what do you call it, vision in my head of kicking it to the curb, because you don't need it anymore. And it's just excess baggage, it's weight around your neck, it's just hanging in there. Not in a good way. By shedding light on our triggers and acknowledging the power has that effect, by shedding that light, by saying this is how this has affected me, we gain profound insights into the workings of these inner workings of the power and our inner workings. The self-awareness paves the way for transformation and liberation. We free ourselves. And that's something I think I know for me, I have to say, that's an ongoing process. Because we're going, and then we can get trapped again in something. And we need to go through the process again. And there's no shame, no harm in going through the process again. That's like treatment. You can treat, and you can keep treating until what you desire appears. And it's never the same treatment. Never. Even if you do one treatment right after another. Because it's different. You're different in that moment. And so retweeting puts more power into it. Through acknowledgement, we begin to recognize where our fears, insecurities, and traumas might have distorted our perception of power. By acknowledging that these things existed, that these things happened. So many times a situation will happen in our life, a traumatic one, and we'll bury it. It didn't happen. And that's not healthy. We need to acknowledge that and move on and deal with it, no matter how painful it is. That's why we have practitioners, that's why we have ministers, that's why we have counselors, therapists, to help us move through some of these situations, these traumatic ones. And that's not giving away our power. That's actually working to reclaim our power back. Because these traumatic situations, the traumatic incidences, take your power away. And they zap your power away. Because we blame ourselves for these things, especially like women with rape and so many times they blame themselves for what happened. And that's not the truth. And so in that case, you need help, you need support to work to move through that. By facing these truths, we initiate a powerful healing process that allows us to reclaim our authentic power. It's essential to recognize that power itself is neutral. It is our beliefs and experiences that color our understanding of it. So we make meaning of it. I remember in Landmark, it was like, wasn't it? They said, everything has meaning. We make meaning out of everything. Even if there's not meaning there, there has to be a meaning behind everything. There has to be a reason. Through acknowledgement, we release any limiting beliefs or negative associations we might have formed around power. And we open ourselves up to embracing power as a force for good in our lives. I'm going to read that again. We open ourselves up to embracing power, not fearing it, not shunning it, but embracing power as a force for good in our lives. Alice Walker said that the most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. I have no power. I know my mother, as we were growing up, she felt that she could not leave the situation she was in with my stepfather, because she had all these kids, and she said, where will she go, and all this and that. And so she's stuck in that relationship for a long time, and thinking that, she had no power, she had, and that's how other people hold you there, hold you down. They use their power and try to suck away yours. And that is extremely sad. I look back at that, and there's so many situations like that where people feel that they are stuck and they can't get out because they don't have any power. They have nowhere to go. They don't know what to do. I think the first thing to do is, which is an interesting one, is ask for help, seek help. I'm going to have 5 ways here to awaken and harness your inner power. First one is to be more real. Your real inner power stems from your authentic truth. I like that. Your authentic truth, being who you are, being that authentic self. This exercise heightens your awareness of what it feels like to be your truth versus what it feels like to be out of alignment. You know how when your car's out of alignment, it doesn't drive too good? Well, when we're out of alignment, we don't drive too good, So it's to be more real. Second one is to judge less. That is a tough one. For me, anyway. The second step is harnessing and awakening our inner power is to heal the habit of judgment. Because judgment weakens our power. It weakens it. And 3 is remember your presence is your power. When somebody walks into the room and you feel that energy, you could just feel it. You have that power to walk into a room and have your power felt. Because your voice is powerful, your words are powerful, your thoughts are powerful. You are a power expressing. I mean, we're made up of energy, pure energy. I mean, it's amazing. I would just love to see. I try to imagine where we go from here, and sometimes I imagine that we're just like all these little molecules, and we just evaporate into the atmosphere. Maybe we become a star. Who knows? I have no idea. I have not experienced that yet, and if I do, I'll come back and tell you. Right. Number 4 is access your power in service to others. Marianne Williamson once said, I'll tell you how to find your power. Use your power for someone who has not. Reach out and help someone in whatever way. I mean, it can be the littlest thing. A friend of ours says, don't give money to people on the street because they're just going to use it for drugs or alcohol. Yes, maybe so. But last Saturday I did. I just wanted to. Once I release it, it is no longer mine, no longer my concern. Maybe this person will use it for food or something. And if that might have put a little light in that person's day, then hallelujah, Not seeking praise and adoration for doing things, but just doing them. She nailed it. It says, there's no other way to awaken your inner power than to be in service of someone who has none. If you're feeling disempowered, immediately find a way to go and serve. I know so many people when they get old and retire and stuff, sometimes they don't have a plan. They don't have anything, an idea. Like I know several people at Boeing that have worked there 30, 40 years, and they retire, and sometimes they don't live very long because that was their life. That's why you really need to not make your job your life, because you're going to leave that job one day, one way or the other, and your life still goes on. And your life needs to be joyful, filled with joy and happiness and fulfillment. And so, go to the homeless shelter, mentor a child, do anything that helps you discover the power and harness it to use in service of someone else. That's a powerful thing. I remember in high school, our church used to go, as we would call the Young People's Society, as kids in high school, and we would go to this, we call it Play with the Children. It was a home for I don't know how the right way to say it, mentally challenged, and the children were adults. And it was quite eye-opening, and it felt good to be. I mean, just even like sometimes we would go for a walk and they would just hold your hand, and it was just like, you're giving something to this person that they don't always get. Now the fifth one is to shine. Kick off that bushel basket or waste basket or however you're hiding your light. Most of us have been taught to turn down the light, to don't shine, to not to outshine somebody else, to hide your power, to take that switch and the dimmer switch and I like that idea, the dimmer switch, and turn it down. Sometimes people do need to turn it down a little bit. We get a little, I'm guilty of that. We get a little carried away or whatever and get too excited and like then you go down the rabbit hole and the squirrel comes and everything goes to hell. Playing small won't work anymore. Playing small won't work anymore. And it doesn't. The world is in a desperate need of more miracles, more miracle-minded people waking up to their true power and purpose. It is your responsibility, it is our responsibility to shine bright. When you shine, you light up the world. I like that's idea. I mean, when you shine, you light up the world. I mean, it doesn't have to be the earth. It could be the world that you're in. It could be the world in this room, the world in the grocery store. but wherever you are, if you let your light shine. As we do our inner work to heal our relationship with power, we open ourselves to a new relationship with power and unlock the potential for profound shift. Once we heal that our negative beliefs about power, our feelings about it, our beliefs, our understandings about it, and I don't want to say make amends, but we heal. And we shift. Every time we confront something and kick it to the curb, there's a shift. There's a shift in us. It frees us from our past beliefs. We empower ourselves to reclaim a new, clean relationship with power, one that empowers and supports us as we shed the layers of past conditionings. That's where we get a lot of this negative thinking about power, is our past conditioning, our growing up. And I'm not blaming, the parents or whatever, because most of them did the best they could with what they had. And that's one thing, big thing I have to remember, as my mother did the best she could with what she had and what she knew. And once I get that in my head, that's a healing process in itself, to allow the grace. We shed the layers of that past conditioning. We regain the power to choose consciously how and where we express our authentic power. So where are we going to use that? And when? This week, little work. Let's embrace this new relationship with power through heightening awareness. Let us observe our thoughts, our feelings, and actions as they relate to power. This would be a good time to journal, take notes. What are my feelings in this situation? Because sometimes we're just so much on automatic that we don't think about, things that are going on within us. So if we become more aware of that, and even jot it down, because if I don't jot it down, it's going to be gone. As we become more mindful of our response to power dynamics, we can consciously redirect them towards a space of safety, compassion, and authenticity. And Ernest Holmes, I'm going to close with this affirmation, or what he quoted. He said, "We have within us a power that is greater than anything we shall ever contact in the outer. A power that can overcome every obstacle in our life and set us safe, satisfied, and at peace. Healed, prosperous, in a new light and in a new life." So we have that power within us. And sometimes it can be scary to realize once you realize we have that power. It can be a little daunting, but we shouldn't let it do that, because it's greater than anything on the outside. Because we are powerful. Our mind is powerful. We are so creative and so powerful. And now we will have a lovely affirmation. Somewhere here. Don't want you. Nothing against you, but there we go. Okay. We'll do this 3 times. I go within
To connect with my source of power.
We
I
go within
to
to connect with my source of power. One more. I go within to connect with my source of power. And so it is. Have a little ditty.
From every person, place, entity, from every,
Back here.
I call my power back to me. From every person, place, entity, from every space, portal, time, and dimension, from every connection, attachment, and vessel where I left it. Anyone, anything that's attempting to siphon my energy, you do not have my consent to use my vitality, and I call my power back. I now release that which is not my own. I lay down the weight that doesn't belong to me, as well as the weight that does. I forgive all things, all people, and all others. I forgive myself. I clothe myself in a bright light of protection, impenetrable. I shed light to my shadows and lovingly work through all insecurities, flaws, and self-destructive habits that cause me not to flow in the ways in which I was created to. I honor those parts of myself, and I love them to life. Any and every soul tie is now disconnected. My mind is decluttered, and I see clearly those who no longer serve me and the mindsets attached to them. I take time for self-evaluation to uncover what in me connected me to that energy, and I heal my broken places. I take up space in my own life, and I unapologetically do the same in the rooms that I walk into. My light, my energy speaks for me before I ever open my mouth. I speak those things that are not as though they were, not as if they have never been, but I activate them with my light energy into being from obscurity. My vibration reverberates and pushes away any energy that is not on the same frequency, and I align, knowing that this is all that is required of me. I receive my